Currently working on a BMW X5 2007 diesel, and it's got particulate filter warning coming up on the dash. So every time the customer turns on and off and cycles the key, he gets a flash on the center dash, and then we have this particulate filter warning that comes on. In this video I'm going to be showing some information if you have this fault on your BMW, what you look for and how you can potentially fix it. Okay, so the first thing is the fault codes that it registers. We're going to ignore these top two fault codes first of all, and it's the 00480A, 00481A, and it's the diesel electronics particulate filter system. So these are the fault codes that we are worried about, and a bit of information to look for when we have these type of fault codes. So I did a video quite a long time ago explaining DPF, soot accumulation, and the different things that you look for, and what is safe and what is not a safe range to carry out some work on it. So what we want first is the engine speed and then the exhaust back pressure. So I'm going to show that. Now up here, if you can see, the light isn't great. The RPM at idle is around 700, and the millibar on the exhaust back pressure is 93 currently. So that's very, very high at idle already. But the range I want to find out, so a lot of people do forced regens to try and solve DPF issues. Now that's fine if it's within a certain range and the customer, let's say, doesn't do any motorway driving at all. This customer does motorway driving and the mileage is getting up quite high. On it now is 193,000 Ks. So what my test is, and if you have this, the test that you need to do is you need to get up to 2000 RPM, and a safe range is between 150 to 200 millibar is the general spec range of safety to do a forced regen. Anything over 300 millibar is not a safe range to do a forced regen, and I believe that those original specs were from a manual of a BMW that I picked. So let's have a look now. 2000 RPM. Try and hold it steady. And as you can see, we're at 1900 and climbing, and we're already over 300. So with that type of pressure, back pressure in it, this isn't safe to do anything with regards to a forced regen. This will require some work. This range here at idle should be less than 10. I believe in that video I said around 3-ish, 3 to 5 is what you would see with a perfectly functioning one, but I have seen them higher. This is much too high. So there is a back pressure fault that needs to be rectified, and that's the DPF is getting blocked up. The options that you have, you can send the DPF away for cleaning, or you can try and do some cleaning through the system using some additives. There's plenty of additives that's on the market that you can try. Taking off a pipe, pumping it through, leaving it for a while to break down all that soot accumulation, and then running it through the engine. And afterwards I'd recommend a long test drive as well, just to make sure everything blows out through the exhaust while you monitor these exact values again. When you have it all done, you would recheck to see what drop you have, and you should see a significant drop off in the back pressure. Now that's all the information I have on this right now. I will be sharing this with the customer, and hopefully we'll be putting some additive, or in another case doing some DPF work on it, depending on what the customer wants to do. So as you can see here, the exhaust pressure at idle is even getting higher. I'm just on the way back to the workshop from the road test, and I just wanted to check the values again, and it has even gone higher. So we have excessive exhaust back pressure. Now, one thing of consideration, which I did mention in that other video I did as well, is the actual sensor itself. One thing you can do is you can confirm if that pressure sensor is faulty. The way you could do that is by using something like a coolant pressure tester. A lot of workshops have that, and making up a fitting for it to put into the pipe or put on top of the sensor, and then pump in the pressure into it. What you would do is look at your gauge that you would have on your coolant pressure tester, and then monitor the live data to make sure the correlation is the same, that you're getting the same readings from what you're putting in to what it's reading. But the very likelihood is this is reading correctly, and that the DPF is blocking up and got a high back pressure in it. So it was at this point I had a discussion with the customer on all of the options that they now faced. After a brief discussion of different costings of those different options, the customer decided to go down the cleaner route. So using a particulate filter cleaner would be tried, and I would test out the product and see if it was capable of bringing down these readings. The product of choice was Wurth that was used, Diesel Particulate Filter Cleaner. It is a product I've used in the past, and I have used many Wurth products when I was back home in Ireland as well, to very good effect. So the application of this product is remove the pressure sensor, basically spray it down the pipe, empty the full can down there. It does in the instructions say to remove a temperature sensor as well, but I do know of techs that have just removed that pressure sensor and sprayed it down the pipe. With that, empty the full can, put the pipe back up in the pressure sensor, and then depending on your setup, it's a drive to do the regen, or you can do a forced regen from there. I always prefer the driving route on this one. You get to blow out all the additional soot accumulation, and you get to monitor those temperatures that the exhaust has while remaining constant. So you want to make sure that the revs are up to a certain height, usually 2.5 to 3,000 RPM is a good range. Get it at about 90 or 100 kilometers an hour and continue to drive for a long period of time. You can monitor the exhaust temperatures as well as the back pressure and watch them drop as you're doing the test drive. What I like about this method is as you continue to drive, you should see those readings drop and drop and drop, and you know when you've gone far enough. And also you'll be watching the smoke out the back of the exhaust as you're driving, and it will start to dissipate as the drive goes on. So that is exactly what was done, and then I bring the vehicle for that exact road test. So the car is currently idling. We see a huge improvement in the in-bar back pressure at idle, 13.88. It's flicking, and it's even going down to 12 there. This has been a relatively good and effective road test I've done afterwards. So I had the exhaust temperature reading while I was doing the road test. So what you seen on that video there was the Temperatures going up, the RPM staying high for a constant amount of time, which keeps the temperature high, which then forces this to drop down. Also, it gives the best chance for the cleaner to push through while it's being burned off, and give it the best chance of having a very good result. Now, this looks to be a success. The engine management light, or the warning, DPF warning, has not come back on at all, so that is good. And now let's do the 2000 RPM test and see where we're sitting. And remember the readings we had earlier. 2000 RPM. So nearly 2000 there and over it, and we're in the 40s. So that is a fantastic result. Very happy with this. I'm going to give this back to the customer. I'm going to ask him to bring it for a further test drive, keep those temperatures up, and try and give this the best chance to be successful. Sometimes you can have pressure which doesn't get within the range with the first round of a cleaner, but this one looks to be good. So as long as you have that, it's pretty sweet. So that's it. I'll bring this back to the workshop now, and this job is all done. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it useful and informative. If you did, please like, share, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.